MVHS, I'm Zakriya. I'm an MVHS grad and I record music as my job. My recording setup looks like this, but yours probably doesn't, and that's totally cool. Especially nowadays, it's super easy to get started recording yourself singing or playing on a really limited budget, or even none at all. Let's talk about that. Most people who record music professionally have all kinds of different microphones, but they all break down into three categories: dynamics, condensers, and ribbons. Today, we'll just talk about dynamics and condensers. Dynamic mics are super simple to use because they don't require any external power. They're not as detailed as condenser mics, but they can handle a lot of sound, so they're used on really loud sound sources very often, like drums, guitar amplifiers, or tubas. One of the most popular dynamic microphones is the Shure SM57. It can be had for about $100. Right here, I have a copy of that microphone called the Behringer SL75C. This one can be had for about $20. On the other side of the aisle, we've got condenser microphones. These are great for when you want to pick up an instrument in all of its little detail. They come in two varieties, large diaphragm and small diaphragm. Large diaphragm condensers are most often used for things like vocalists, trumpets, trombones, saxophones, clarinets, or stringed instruments. Small diaphragm condensers are more often used for recording things like cymbals, acoustic guitars, or entire rooms. For most folks, a good large diaphragm condenser is the best first microphone to get. Some good inexpensive options for large diaphragm condenser microphones are the Blue Yeti, anything in the Audio-Technica AT series, and anything made by MXL. Links will be in the doobly-doo. Another thing that's worth noting is some microphones have what's called a variable polar pattern. This is a little complex, but if for whatever reason your microphone does have this, I recommend using the cardioid setting, which looks like this. It's also worth noting that nowadays, you don't even need a fancy microphone like this to get a good sound. If you're just working with what you have, a phone microphone will sound pretty good and a lot better than the internal microphone in your computer or your Chromebook. Okay, so we've got our microphone and we're ready to plug it into our computer. So we just take it and, wait, hold on a second, what's this funny looking port at the bottom here? Most microphones use what's called an XLR connector to transfer their sound. So in order to get them into our computer, we'll need what's called an audio interface. Some USB microphones, such as the Blue Yeti, will forgo this cable in favor of a USB cable that'll just plug right into your computer. These are great options for people who just want to record themselves playing their instrument or singing and aren't too worried about future expandability. I'll leave a couple links down in the description. Anyway, back to audio interfaces. The job of an audio interface is to take your microphone signal, amplify it, and turn it into ones and zeros so it can be read by the computer. If you're using a condenser microphone, your audio interface will also give it the power it needs to operate. This is done using a switch or button that's usually either labeled Phantom or plus 48V. On this audio interface here, that switch is right in the back. Before we get started recording, we need to set a level for our microphone. The way that I recommend doing this at first is playing the loudest part of your song, and then adjusting your volume down if it's distorting, or turning it up a little if it seems really quiet. Distorted audio will sound like this. As with everything else, some good audio interface recommendations will be available down below. Keep in mind that if you decide to go the route of a microphone and an audio interface, you also need to buy a microphone cable. As with most things on computers, there's specialized software that we'll need to do our recordings. For recording music, the programs we use are called DAWs, or Digital Audio Workstations. Professionals like myself and serious hobbyists use software like Avid's Pro Tools, Apple's Logic Pro 10, Ableton Live, or Steinberg Cubase, but there are tons of great free options as well. GarageBand by Apple is fantastic, as well as a relatively new program called SoundBridge, which is available for Mac, Windows, and Linux. I'll drop some information on these free options, as well as some tutorials on how to get started using them in the description below. Let's say you've got your microphone, you've got your software, your microphone isn't distorting, but you still don't think it sounds great. What might be going wrong? Well, believe it or not, the placement of your microphone can have as much effect on your sound, or even more, than the actual microphone that you're using. I find that the best way to place your microphone, if you're not sure of all the proper techniques, is to just use your ears. Here, I'll demonstrate. Alright, so first off, we're going to talk about how you position a microphone for yourself. So what a lot of people will do, when they're first starting out, is basically you'll just slap a microphone down and it'll just play right into it. So we'll see what that does. I'm not a trumpet player, but let's see what happens. Okay, so to my ears that sounded really, really sharp and aggressive. And as you can see, because this is a condenser microphone, we're picking up all the detail on the trumpet. But I think it's a little too punchy. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to move the microphone a little bit away from the line of fire of the trumpet, and we're going to turn it a little bit and see how that changes the sound. So it's pretty subtle, but I think it makes a big difference. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to position a microphone for someone else, or how to have someone else help you position your microphone. So what I'm essentially going to do is I'm just going to take my ear and move it around her bass while she's playing, and I'm going to figure out which place sounds best to me, and then I'm going to put the microphone where that place is. So, Camille, can you just play me something? You just a scale, anything? Okay, so I'm really liking the sound right here because I'm getting a lot of that nice bass response coming out of the instrument. So what we're going to do is we're going to place a microphone right here. Okay, so we got our microphone right here. So can you just play me something and we'll see how it sounds. Awesome. Sounds great. While you may think that your bathroom has really good acoustics because the tiles make everything sound really big, when we record things, we want to go for as dry a sound as possible. And no, that is not a joke. When audio engineers say dry, what we really mean is it just sounds as clean as possible with the least possible amount of room sound. A really good and easy way to do this is to just put fabric everywhere. Putting some moving blankets up around your room, or even just using some old towels or blankets, will help deaden the reflections going around and improve the cleanliness of your recordings. This is basically just a cheap way of emulating something like the acoustic blanket I have here. I hope this video has been helpful to you and gives you a good place to start on your recording journey. If you have any questions about recording at home or even careers in production and music engineering, feel free to reach out to me. My email is zakriya@halfmilemusic.studio. You can also hit me up on my Facebook page at Half Mile Music. Thanks for watching, and best of luck in all your recording endeavors.